everyone. Happy Monday and welcome to Two Pieces Podcast, episode number 29. Welcome everyone who is already in the chats. Good morning, good morning. Good morning, Kara Shay. Good morning, Ken. Ken, are you coming to the cookout in May? Can you give me a sound check? Everybody give me a thumbs up. Make sure you can hear me good. We good? I don't want to do a whole 5 minutes and then someone say we can't hear you. Give me a sound check. Hey, Rock. Bosa. Hey, Bosa. Hey, Luke. Keys, what up, bro? Dre, what it do in the chat? Dre takes his baby to school now on Mondays, and so we patiently wait him. I can't beat him up for that. He's a lot of things, but being an awesome dad, I never charge nobody to that, right? That comes first all the time, and he is definitely that. So we just wait patiently for him, but he'll be with us. All right, guys. So just to start, as usual, just a reminder, it is now 8:02 in 13 more minutes. We'll do our brief prayer for Brian Barchak. I know that you all been following like some of the updates, but I just want to put it out there that there's a GoFundMe out there for him. So if you hadn't had the opportunity to donate intently, and if you didn't have the opportunity to donate individually or directly, then there's a GoFundMe out there as well. If you want to donate again, like I know for me, I will continuously donate. If you want to donate again, do so. And I just want to just bring to light 3 things that Brian has opened up to us. And I will share that in a second. Hold on one second, y'all. That's one of the enclosures. Sorry. Literally turned that house heat off last night because it was hot in Maryland yesterday. But now the temperature has to build back up. So whenever there's a degree difference in the berm cage, is going to beep. So just have to fix it. It might beep again until the ambient balance is out. But again, good morning, bro. To discuss what Brian is going through from a different perspective, but I think it also shines light on how we think. You guys know that I'm an advocate and a reminder of the importance of having life insurance regardless, right? But in Brian's position, I don't know if, like, even the way that I think, I believe to insure things that you can't finance yourself, right? And because other than that, y'all, it's all come up. Even your, it's with the exception for your car insurance, your states, well, most states require that you maintain car insurance. But outside of that, all other insurance are things to insure us in the case something happened. Good morning, Don D. Welcome to the chat. In case something does happen, that you are covered for the funds that you may not otherwise have, right? Life insurance is being a big one. A lot of times we don't think of the extent. For me, I always, for my daughter, because at a certain age now, life insurance back in the day, you can insure anybody at any time without a lot of questions and needing affidavits from both biological parents, all that kind of stuff. So it's important, like for my children, my daughter particularly, who has 3 of my grandchildren, I scream life insurance to her because they all came off of my insurance when I decided to, she came off at the age of 23. But at the age of, I think once the grandkids was out of that one first year, hey Dre,
what up?
They all supposed to be covered under their dads and her. So anyway, that's something that when you don't have full control over it, you don't know. But the reality of it is, I remind my daughter, if all of y'all are in a vehicle, because this can happen, I am a person who believes that it can happen to us, right? Because sometimes I think people think we see all these things happen in the world, but it will never happen to me. For example, in this family, we lost 4 family members all at once. We had my cousin who was pregnant. She was 7 months pregnant at the time, and her 2 kids died in a fire all at once. And so I explained to my daughter all the time that, I know y'all young people don't think that you're going to live forever, but when you think that way, the burden is left on us, the parents, because if something happened, even she don't have insurance, I'm going to have to figure out a quick $80,000 and go to the bank, pull it out, and pay for it in cash. That is life savings. That's not money that I have sitting around to bury people. Right, so it's important, including ourselves. It ain't money I'm sitting around. That's the goal is that if something shall happen, you should be making it easier for those that you leave behind through life insurance. So, but if you're wealthy, I'm telling you, I know this would be me. I don't know if I would have thought, and I would have thought like Brent, but he admitted that, or he came out to say that he didn't have life insurance. And it's not many insurance companies that I even can think of that will allow you to walk in to get life insurance, knowing that you have a terminal disease. That's not going to happen, right? So him being transparent about that, and because I've seen, questions about the why. There's times in normal people's lives that life circumstances can change your financial position. In regular people, just you and I. Now, it's a major difference if it's something that you had multi-million dollars invested in or multi-million dollars that you were spending on. So that life adjustment to go from, I have all of this and I know that I can do a lot of this work myself, and that plan to, I may not be here. And I get him when he say he needs to make sure that his dream, because that's his legacy. And for me, I want to see, if it was me, I would want that one thing to happen if it was a chance that I wasn't going to be on earth. But to do that, it may take some sacrifices from other people, right? And I just want people to just think about that. Like, we get it, we think that because we had millions and millions of dollars, there's a time I didn't have, backup systems, for this house, not that you could afford it. You just don't think things are ever going to happen. It wasn't until things happened in Texas that I was like, oh, I want this, I need this, and I need that, and I need that. So I say that to say support if you can. If you can't, fine, but please do not speak negative on the reasons why do he needs it, because he needs it. I can guarantee you this: if he didn't, the last thing he would be thinking about at this time is getting on TV, sharing his experiences with us and expressing the importance of his legacy to us. So I know I wouldn't be. Last thing I'd be thinking about is social media. If I was diagnosed with it, y'all wouldn't see me, to be honest. Like, unless it's doing things that's fun. I mean, everybody's passion is different. I can tell you, I'm a person who, when I'm sick with a regular cold, I need to focus on myself. I can't focus on anybody else. So everybody, Dre, that is so rude. Did y'all see his yawn? Could you get all your yawns out before you come? You go live? I get it. I woke up like this too. He's listening. Okay, bro. Hey, KT. Good morning, KT. Good morning, Candy. Good morning, Elias. Secondly, y'all, shout out to Elias and Bosa, who, let me tell you, I never go live on Lady Tiz Exotic. So I wasn't expecting anybody to even show up. They showed up. Jewel showed up. Shout out to Jewel. I hadn't seen him in some times. But I am going to start going live on Lady Tiz Exotics on Sunday. And the reason being is that, just again, like, I pay a lot of attention to conversation, not necessarily in our, direct world, but again, like in other realms that I don't really play in, like the retail community. I try to distance myself and just bring in the people towards me that I love in that community. But I wanted to show people that, I always say that it's important to understand that your relationship with your animals is your relationship with your animals. But I'm never going to tell somebody they can't have a relationship that they can't. I can just show you what the relationship that I have and that it's real. Because the question was, when she does these videos, what happens before. Now, I thought I've done enough videos to show. If you go and look at handling retics without a hook, that shows me doors closed, doors opening, going in. There's another video that I did in June where it shows you that I can do that with even the subadults, right? I mean, I thought that I gave it as raw as I could. So now I'm gonna give it into you live. And so thank you. Shout out to Bosa and Elias, who I know was watching the most of the entire time. I know Bosa was watching most of the entire time, but I was just cleaning the retics, which I normally do on Sundays, like a deep cleaning for any of the biggest things that need a deep cleaning, the rats and things like that. So I'm going to start to show that more, and I'm showing live footage of exactly what I do with each individual retic to show that don't get caught up into what people tell you can't do, or what their image is. I'm going to show you an image that is a different image of them. And you can even believe it or not, right? I'm not trying to convince anybody to have a relationship that I have with mine. I can just tell you that it's a true, real deal. And it'll show you with different personalities as well. So that's something that I would be doing on Sundays, just, random, no specific time or anything. Just know that I will be going live more on, not on Nicole Tisdale, but on Lady Tiz Exotics. I really need to transition a lot of this content to the actual business page. It's just, I wish the business page and the personal page had a way that I can filter out certain things without, having to post and share. But anyway, that's that. Now we are going to be talking today about reptile bans. Dre, did you want to give any updates before we get into prayer? We got like 3 minutes. Personally, what's going on with the snake gourd?
No, I did that on Instagram Live yesterday.
Oh, excuse me. That is not appropriate. Like, I wasn't there. Didn't even know you was on Instagram Live. Can you share with the people who might not?
It was an impromptu. It was just an impromptu thing.
What happened?
I said it was just an impromptu thing, but no, I was just talking about updated everybody on the carpet. Carpet did not make it. In addition to that, I lost 2 additional snakes that had the same thing. So
wait a minute, I missed that part. Like, this is a
told anybody.
Conversation. You're just gonna wait and spring it on me on TV?
I mean, people support us, so they deserve to know. So what?
So what happened? Who did I lose? The carpet. I know that's hard, but I knew about that.
My big berm.
How?
So apparently, they had the same things I had.
You sure it don't go back to the first retic?
You said what?
You sure it doesn't go back to that retic, the first one?
Yeah, so I had everybody tested, which is what I've been dealing with now. So everybody right now is just in quarantine setups. I stripped everything. Everybody got tested. So far, what I have left is everyone's negative, but I'm still keeping an eye on everybody. Everybody is still eating. Nobody's showing any of those symptoms, but the berm, and then my big scrub, the one I just recently got, all 3 of those gone in the matter of the past 2 months.
Wow.
So yeah, that's why I literally did an update on live, basically talking about that's why I've been absent and why I haven't been pushing out content, because I've been trying to make sure my animals are okay, which is part of the reason why I'm tired, because I didn't get home until like 3 a.m. because I was at the shop, just disinfecting, make sure everything was cool. I've been cleaning tubs like twice a day because I'm like, I can't lose any more snakes. The carpet hurt bad enough. My big berm, definitely, that was like a shot to the heart. Zeus was my guy. So yeah.
Well, and see, that's why we are so weird, or I'm weird about using different breeders, right? Because it can happen any breeder. Let's just keep it real. But like, when you can't, it's hard to isolate certain things like that. And my concern is though you quarantine.
Yeah.
So whatever this is something that lingers, kind of like how everybody laughed at me when I kept this dang on green tree quarantine for over a year. Like, I just felt like I had to, based on the information that we had about, him being farm bred. you know,
Right.
and not captive bred. You after that whole little conversation, all right, so whatever, this is wild court some kind of way. We're gonna it's some wild blood in here. We just want to quarantine this thing for a year. But that's why, because again, the new animals are not just affected, it's the
Everything is at risk.
and I ain't
So
gonna say that it makes it losing the new ones easier, but yeah, it does. You know what I'm saying? Like opposed to you
in a way, you know, because you know you haven't really.
built the
It,
relationship.
I'll say it sucks more financially because you're like, dang, I just spent this money on this animal. But as far as you know, you haven't really had that relationship with them yet, so it doesn't make it easier. But I mean, I lost two of my prime snakes that I used in education, but they were popular, and those were two of my favorite snakes. So I'm just like, fuck. But yeah, so dealing with
Definitely
that.
a bummer. Sorry. So, I mean, I knew that we was, that the carpet probably, but the good thing is there's a lot of nice carpets out there right now. I haven't thought about it myself. Like,
Yeah, I definitely will, plan on getting a new Burma and a new carpet. I just want to make sure everyone else is cool at the moment
yeah.
before I, get some new blood in there. And that's another thing. The facility that my snakes are at, is technically, a pet store, and although they're off to their own side, those animals that are being brought in, I don't know what they have, so it's like I'm trying to move them out as soon as possible because
You know what?
honestly,
They never thought about that.
and it's like I don't blame him obviously because he's doing what he's supposed to do,
Right.
but
You
for
just never
me, I was like,
before.
none of these animals that I got came in sickly. Everybody was fine, and honestly, I'm real good. Like again, if it was quarantine, if I had to quarantine longer, that's what I was gonna do. But like I said, they're in their own little area. But man, I'm just like, I've never ever lost animals like that. When I had my reptile room, when I was getting my own new animals, I've never lost animals like that, especially not any of my big ones. Like once they're established, it's usually hard to kill them. So that's why I'm just like, bruh, what the hell? So I'm a little traumatized at the moment, but I'll be all right.
That's sad. And then another thing that's said, shout out to Sincere, one of his Chapo, one of his dogs had cancer. And I didn't find it out until last night. And he loves those dogs. And when you look at Chapo, you can see that he's sick. Like, because they are normally two big dogs, but he's just, trying to spend some time with them before, that last moment. Just letting him like enjoy the breathing the air and stuff like that. I think the saddest part of losing a sick dog though is that the dog knows it's dying and is still trying to be loyal and protective of you. That's the worst. That's the part that helps me, that makes it easier to put a dog down, honestly, for me. Not that it's easy to put the dog down, but it's easier because you watch the dog like, I know I'm sick. The dog know way before you know, right? But I'm still trying to be. Their loyalty is so loyal. It's not like people loyalty. That shit gives at some point. Dogs is loyal to the end. And that's the hardest part. So we're late. It's now 8:19. We're going to just go ahead and do our brief prayer for Brian. Everybody bow your head, close your eyes. Again, we're praying to a higher power. Mine is God, mine is Jesus. Well, that's going to come out my mouth. Whoever you believe in, you can fulfill and fill the name of whoever you believe in into the line of your prayer. You can meditate on your own, but that's who I'm praying to. So Father God, today again, we're with you. It's Monday. It's our committed time to pray for Brian Barchak and his family. God, we ask that you continue to give him strength to do the things that he loves as he begin treatment in the next week. God, we know that the treatment will be intense and hard on his body, but we know that you have the power to lift that pain, that sickness, that illness, that weakness from him in the midst of the storm, because you are God, you are who you say you are and whose you say you are. So we appreciate that, God, and we ask that you just keep it mindful for those around him that they're going to need to step it up a little bit to keep him protected in his health. And please let his wife understand that this is going to be a transition for her as well. There's going to be times that he's going to be bold and he's going to want to do things that he wants to do. When you experience people going through this, you know that the part of them living is to continue to let them be alive. So we ask that give her that strength as a balance, because I know as a wife that you have to sit your husband down sometimes, and that's your first thought. However, God, that we got to keep in mind that his goals in life is to live, and whatever that looks like for him, God, that's what it must be. We ask that you protect everybody around him, keep them lifted in prayer. We ask that all the financial blessings that he seeks, that they are awarded to him, God, and that the amazing blessings that's coming through continue to come through for him. Shout out to the Go Abundance team, God. What a blessing to be a part. If you are going to be in this situation, to be a part of a bunch of group of men who are just so solid and built around you to help you continue your dreams, your financial security, and playing out your days however way they may go. I thank you, God, for just bringing this community together yet again, God, another time, another day, another podcast. And we thank you so much for all that you do. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. All right. So let's get into reptile bands. Do you want to start, Dre, or do you want me to run some of them down?
You can start. I'm gonna pull up my notes here real quick.
Okay. All right. So I'm just gonna just go over some of on the last 30 days, some of the alerts that have come up from US Art. If you are a US Art member, make sure that you have it clicked where you get the alerts. I know for me, I was honest with Phil about this. I can't read through all of that stuff. That's on the website. But what I can do is get the alerts and read it. So one of the current alerts is in Halton City Council, Michigan. I don't know if that's where Eric Mays is, but if it is, we definitely want to get him on our side on this. But it's pretty much the same. It's a whole bunch of reptile educational bands. So you got that one. You also have the Oregon Animal Program ban that updated on March 9th. A hearing was scheduled for March 16th at 8:00 a.m. This bill can now be easily opposed through Oregon legislation website, and we need people to do this. So the committee report shows more opposition than support. So again, this is where follow the task, write the letters. A lot of the letters all drafted up for you for your state. Get it submitted. Again, we're stronger in numbers. Illinois Animal Program ban. This one actually, when I think it updated as of March 10th, looks like this one might be soon to come off the table, or off the table is going to end up back on the table. But however, just keep an eye out on that for the Illinois Animal Program ban, because this will actually impact Tinley Park, guys. So we want to make sure that we get to still go and enjoy ourselves at Tinley and have the wonderful time that we have. So just keep all bans in place, but then you also have the Connecticut animal ban. And when they start coming up north, because you got New York already banned a bunch of stuff, now you got Connecticut. I always say, stay south, stay north. Leave us right here alone. You know, Lower Maryland. Just leave us alone. We got enough going on than worried about animals. We got to worry
closer and closer.
Right.
Getting closer.
We got people
and
driving. People abuse. So you got the Connecticut animal ban, and then we have Rhode Island Animal Program, which is right next to Connecticut. Y'all see how this works. So let me tell you, and you notice when these start popping up, we find animals abandoned in New York. And now we're coming on down the road to Connecticut and Rhode Island. We was fighting one a couple months ago up in New Hampshire, but that one actually got tabled. So that was good. But again, just keep in mind that these alerts and these bills, we can fight them. They get adjusted sometimes, but they still end up on the table unless they are actually like just completely off the table. So Texas, which was a surprise. We always talk about how free Texas is. So Texas House Bill 3482 amends current law and will have implications for some reptile keepers. The bill also affects mammal species classified as dangerous wild animals in Texas. It was introduced by Representative Chris Turner and has not been assigned to committee yet. Please read the alert and understand this is changed to current law. And guys, you should read through this. Texas is big. So anything that happens, it's kind of like Florida. You start changing stuff in Texas. Oh yes, everybody, like Texas has always been like the free state with animals, pretty much. So and then New Mexico. Now, I can be honest, if there's any states that I don't pay a lot of attention to, it's New Mexico. I just don't. This was back into February 8th, and that was after a long debate and discussion. This bill was tabled a second time, so that's good. So whatever people doing down in New Mexico, they doing their thing. Washington Animal Program ban. That one also, this bill was dead for this session and it's failed to meet the deadline for passage through. And speaking of getting a bill to fail to meet the deadline, if you guys contested enough and request like more detail into a bill and things like that, that's how you get a lot of things tabled. I know when I worked in property management, we would have a lot of state legislation and committee laws. And things that we would totally disagree with, just start opposing it. Just everybody just start opposing it. Most people in pilot, they don't really want to work. That means they got to read through the stuff. So it's kind of like, if you ever cleaned up your credit, if anybody know what I'm talking about, if you dispute most of the stuff on your credit, most of them companies, they're not even going to try to say that, it's not valid. And so therefore it drops off your credit. Fight it. And then see what happens. Now, if that doesn't work, then you continue to fight. But most of the time, if you challenge it, it goes out the window. So go ahead, Dre. So those are some that's currently on the table. I think I covered every state, unless Dre, you had something that I missed.
No, I was looking at the USARC website as well. You covered everything. What I wanted to speak to mostly, it just seems like every time that there's a ban that's about to come out, there's a random reptile event that happens where someone either dies or a snake then got loose. Just happened, I don't know if you saw in PA, which is right next door to me where I'm at, where they found the guy, I guess, dead in his apartment, and they found over 60 venomous snakes. So of course the news is trying to spin the story as if he died from a snake bite. However, they've already determined that that snake bite was old. But they're making it a big deal because apparently the only thing that sucks for us is you have your state laws, and then also a lot of people don't realize, depending on what county you live in, those laws can be different as well.
We talked about this the other night on John's show when I was on Inquiline show. I was trying to explain that the federal government makes laws, but the local municipalities have the right to alter them or to amend them for that particular county. Go ahead.
Yeah, so I was gonna say the only thing that sucks for us is apparently majority of the snakes that he kept were illegal. So that's gonna look real bad on us. And I can say Ohio and PA, a lot of people don't know, but Ohio and PA kind of like this. So usually whatever one state does, that other state will do almost immediately. And then it doesn't help that this isn't reptile related, but I'm pretty sure a new amended animal ban will pop up. The guy getting his arm bit off by a zebra, that is some of the most Ohioist thing I've ever heard. I didn't even know we could have zebras in Ohio, which is odd because y'all got all these permits and bans against reptiles, but you can have a zebra. And I get it, zebras are in the same family as horses, but their temperament is completely different. That is not an animal, that. No, and even horses, they can do some damage. And this man had 8 zebras. There was 1 male, or 9. I think there was like 1 or 2 males and 8 females. He was 72 years old. He got a little too close, and that zebra went into protect mode. So I say all that to say, a lot of the stuff that we post online, which we've said this many times before, does have an effect on a lot of these bans, because literally it can take, I know Jeremy Turgeon has spoken on his lives, you can literally post something with good intentions and they can take a screenshot and flip it and turn it into something else. So the unfortunate thing is like why we got to watch what we post. I'm not a big fan of the free handling of venomous. Get it, to each their own. Everybody's experience level is different. It just not a good look for us.
It's okay. But someone said It's no different from having a large constrictor. We always talking about venomous. It's largely different. A large constrictor, you can tell that it is about to do some shit. It's a clear warning. You got a multiple warnings before it just, or you did something completely simple to get completely constricted by a large constrictor. Most large constrictors, it's an accident. And I talk about that. I'm not going to talk about it today. I always talk about that. They hold on to your neck. So therefore, holding on to your neck is going to kill you if you don't make them feel secure. Best thing to do is never put them on your neck. My thing with venomous is that it's almost a guarantee, especially when you're dealing with certain types. And this particular person who, we're talking about Q actually, we've seen multiple times free handle. I remember one night, I can't remember if it was Key's show or it might have been Dirk's show, where Dirk was like, the people watching, Dirk specifically was like cringing. I remember I couldn't watch, because of the free handling. Now, most likely it's going to determine that he was killed by a snake, just like the man here in Maryland. I talked about this Saturday. There's a protocol for venomous snake owners to secure the animal prior to trying to secure help, so that help is not harmed. I remember the guy here, no one thought that he was killed by the venomous. There was no sign, but autopsy showed that he definitely was killed by neurotoxin. So it definitely was the snake who actually killed him. But his daughter said, he was always talking about that protocol. Make sure if something happens that we secure that animal first. Now, I'm saying I admire people who if I get bit by, I can't really say nothing like, but if I get bit by the green tree python, y'all gonna think I got bit by venomous, So with that being said, adding on to what Dre is saying, I think we talk about policing ourselves, Dre, and I talk this, and I still believe it. Me and Shane got into a pretty much heated discussion about this, not an argument, a discussion about this. I'm a fan of policing. I'm a fan if the county set the code for every reticulated python. What I'm not a fan of is you saying that I can't have. I'm not a fan of that. I'm not a fan that people can't have berms in Florida. I'm not a fan of that. But if here in Maryland, the county says, going forward, if you want to own a reticulated python, Burmese python, you have to have it registered with the state of Maryland. We are able to come in and do scheduled inspections. I'm not necessarily saying that you should have inspections that's so random that is invasive. I didn't believe that being a regional property manager. I always tell my managers, let your residents know first that you're coming into the apartment. I'm a big believer on that. People get shot and killed today, just walking up and banging on people's door coming into the house. So I will say that I am a fan of that. And if you say for every animal I have, I just have to let you know that I have it, and that I have to let you know that it is housed and that it is secured, I'm for that. If you tell me I have to pay $10 for each one of those animals, $20 for each one of them animals, I'm for that. And the reason why I express that I'm for that, because if I know, like, let's say for instance, I'm not Nicole. I'm a person with a slight irresponsibility when it comes to my animals, right? And I know that they're registered with the state, and something happens that I think I'm just going to stick them outside. I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do it because I know that I'm now in trouble with the law. It's no different from anything else that's governed. Like, some things need some form of government. I don't think government should take it over, but I'm telling you, as an advocate, I believe that we should have some relationship with the government, that you have sound people in this hobby who helps them make the laws for each state. So therefore, we're not getting everything taken away, because what's going to happen is that we keep seeing reticulated pythons on the side of the road in New York in dead winter. Animal activists and everybody else who thinks how horrible that is, including us, is going to want to not see it. And we're going to say, and they're going to say, they should not be able to keep these animals because it's happening so often. And we can keep saying the argument, it happens with dogs and cats too. That argument will never be the same. It's just not. You're not going to be able to create the same argument with that. So go ahead, Dre.
I think first off, New York is its own different breed. New York and Florida are They shouldn't be counted against the other 48 because they work on a different. When I saw that story about them pulling an alligator out the river in New York, I'm like, what the hell is going on in New York? What's going on?
But you know, it came from PA because everybody in PA can have an alligator.
I also do believe that we should be. I'm 50-50 on the police and ourselves because I do think we should do it, but seeing the state of our community, cancel culture is unfortunately too live and well. And as soon as someone disagrees with you, they feel like you don't deserve to have an opinion or anything at all. You could be the best reptile keeper in the world, and you can say, "Well, I don't think rats are that bad." Boom, you're canceled. You are canceled. And so I honestly don't think that will ever be an option. Not even just that. You still have, people driven by ego because they've been doing it since the 60s and the 80s, and they feel like nobody can do it better than them or like them. So they're going to feel like they can talk down on people. So it's way too much strife in the reptile world for us to be able to police ourselves, which is why I think it's so easy. Another reason why it's so easy for them to pass these bans, because we can't. The only time the reptile community can unite is if it's drama and they want to gang up on somebody to remove their Instagram or anything like that. And I know we've had conversations about a particular event, but that's the only time everybody can unite about something. But we still trying to get people. Like, I really don't understand how people are reptile keepers and aren't members of USARK. I really don't get that. And the simple fact that we're still getting people, still having people not be members of USARK, and they can't tell you why. Or their argument, well, I don't know where the money is gone. Well, come to a fucking expo and come to the auction, and you can talk to Phil Goss. You can come to the auction and literally see what happens. Like, I don't understand what's so hard about people. And when you give them that solution, of course they don't want to do it. So, okay, well, at that point, you're the problem. You can't have a solution and not have a problem or not want to be a part of the solution. And I don't understand why people have that mindset. But unfortunately for me, I try to be as real as possible. This is why I don't ever think that these bans are going to stop.
And so, and I agree. Like, for me, it's so one of the things that Shane has said, he was like, well, back in the day, people was keeping like their snakes in boxes and things like that. And I'm like, yeah. So now we put them in aquarium, but people in boxes still cared more. Like, the older keeper cared more. And you hear that. That's why you hear a lot of the older vets getting so frustrated with now I'm not saying that they're right, but getting so frustrated with the new keepers because the things that, like, I can tell you, y'all didn't start seeing my snakes until 3 or 4 years ago. Old keepers kept their animals. They didn't need to show them off. They didn't need to have pictures of them. None of that. Like, it was, we kept them good. We made sure they didn't get out the house and things like that. Newer keepers are, and not saying all of them, there are some amazing young keepers. And we see them. I can't wait to Key's show. Y'all going to see more. Where he's actually going to, on Saturday mornings, have like it's not hair down, but like a hair down for kids, where kids can really display their knowledge, what they keep, how they keep, what the future looks like for them, that type of thing. We're going to see them because really that generation is who we need to make smarter. You know what I mean? So that the next generation have what we had, type of thing. I feel I'm okay with police, and that's why and I understood why Shane felt the way he felt. But my point is, I'm good here. You know what I'm saying? The only way that you're not going to be, you'll be impacted if you're not keeping your animals in a healthy way. Like, for me, come on, food. We got 3 freezers worth of food. The humans don't have that much food. I got 1 freezer and 1 refrigerator for us, but it's 3 freezers worth of food. What next? Let's look at the enclosures. Yes, these are the enclosures. This is the size of the snakes. This is the size it started in. I got pictures. This is what I upgrade them to. What next? What type of substrate you use? Well, for this one, I use paper towels because this one likes paper towels. This one, I use Reptile. This one, I use Reptile and paper. This is my why. Like, all of that, we can run them on through. Like, I love when I was talking to Gator Pool, when I was talking to Chad, watching them go into his facility. Like I said to him, they looked more like they was there to just like amazed by what he had, then, or how it was set up, then even to be there to police. And I think that if he wasn't such a great keeper, it would have been worse for him. Like, and the thing that he owned up to, which, I learned something. I thought all alligators were game in Texas. He broke it down to, Draco was an American alligator. He should not have had him. So even though he was attached to the animal and I was attached to Draco, he explained that, I knew I shouldn't have had him. So here they go. He was willing to hand that one over. What he wasn't taking was the stuff that I had that was legal. And that's
Right.
where
I watched the playback on that. I agree. Number one, don't keep animals you're not supposed to be keeping.
right.
But outside of that, you're not about to take my animals that are completely legal. If I'm getting and I'm cooperating, but I'm giving you what you came here for. That's to me, that's just control and an abuse of power. Now, if the law was different and they catch you in violation and the consequence was to remove all animals, I would understand that. But if that's not the law, you can't just come in here and take my animals. For
Right.
what? It's stupid. Right. And I think stuff like that is why a lot of people have issues with FWC in their area, depending on where you live at, because every FWC in every state is going to be different. Here, they seem to be pretty chill, but I've heard some horror stories, about people who've had run-ins with FWC and they, literally try to abuse their power. So I don't think that that's an excuse to not do things the right way, because, like you said, if you're doing things right and you're doing things by the book and there's literally nothing that they can do, then you have nothing to worry about.
Right.
But I don't know, me, I'm documenting everything. I got a camera because you're not just gonna come take my animal, and I want you to show me proof of where I can't have this animal or what I did wrong. Because I know in Ohio, there's people here there was somebody I talked to, and they were like, "Be careful, FWC will take your Gila monsters because they're technically illegal." I'm like, "But they're not illegal." I've already talked to FWC about it. Come to find out, this dude was selling drugs out of his house, which is why they took his animals. So I'm just like, don't leave that part out now. Don't leave that.
Don't be selling drugs and having reptiles. You're making us look bad.
Right. So I think it's just important that everybody is, number one, be aware of your state laws. When it comes to your state and local laws, when it comes to your reptile, just like you would anything else. Me and Nicole are both gun carriers, so we have to both be up to date on those laws. And then when we travel, the laws of where we're going. I know we talk about guns a lot on this channel. So
yeah. So we sitting here looking at the back. I'm like, wait a minute, Dre. We can't take the guns. We can take them all the way to Illinois. So we couldn't take them, but we could have flew with them. Technically, if Illinois allowed them, we could have flew with them. But yeah, Dre, that's a good point. The glimpse that we have to go through to make sure we don't violate gun ownership laws. Like, that's probably the closest I can get to putting it with reptile. You know what I'm saying? Where people would never understand the need that you think you should be able to carry a gun. You got that group of people who just think that nobody should have guns because someone shot up the school, but we think we should have them so people can shoot up the school. So if someone do come in here, somebody like us can shoot the person who's coming to shoot up the school before the police get there. Everybody don't think that. But once something happened, right? And that hero, like when the guy started shooting the kids in Virginia, those college kids in Virginia, there was a civilian who shot the gunman. It wasn't the police who stopped that. Could you imagine how much more people would be hurt? So I say that to say that's probably one of the things that, with Dre's point, every day when we decide we want to go somewhere, let's say if it's out of Maryland, my husband, and we live in a very sensitive place because Maryland and DC are right here. The laws change when you get into DC, even how you carry. So you got to make those amends before you cross those lines. Or if you're going up north or out west, okay, I'm going through here, we can carry here, I can carry here. Dang, how do I get from this state to this state? Because I can't carry my gun at this state. You just can't carry your gun. And you have to make a decision, is it worth it? If I get caught in this state, do I want to do federal time just because I want to carry my gun? It's the same mindset with these animals.
Yeah, and even to the whole gun thing, you don't even got to look at carrying. You also got to look at how you transport it.
Yeah.
Because transporting is completely different. before Ohio's laws changed, before we became an open ground state, if you didn't have your license, you were not allowed to carry a loaded gun. Or if you had to transport it, you had to transport the gun separate from the
Oh,
mag.
the bullets,
So
right?
I would have to put my mag in like my console and put my actual gun in the trunk. And if I wanted to carry, I couldn't carry it loaded. I would have to carry my gun in my holster and then my mag in a separate pocket.
But you have to know all of that. Like even for us,
Exactly.
we cross I live, y'all, at the DC line. So we drive over into DC. How we carry is different. In Maryland, we can carry loaded on us with an extra clip, all of that. Once I get into DC, if I'm near a federal building, which federal buildings are all over DC, they're gonna get you off. Like literally, you can't go from corner to corner. You don't even know it's a federal building half of the time. You know what I'm saying? So you pretty much got to do what Dre said. You got to separate it. You got to put the gun in the safe. You got to put the bullets in the console somewhere separate. And if you don't, you will go to jail because that's the law. They make it clear. That's the one thing about they make it clear. So what about that, Dre? What if we had, in order to own certain reptiles, you had to do I'm just using a number, 10 hours of online training or to get certified. And then I would be willing to do that for, like I said, not ball pythons, but the larger boys that really could be dangerous if they mishandle. Yeah.
So that's how it is here for venomous. It's only like that for venomous. You gotta do hours, or you have to take a written exam proving that you have the experience and knowledge to keep these animals. As far as like the bigger constrictors, berms, African rocks, retics, we have to have permits. So anything that is 12 foot and bigger, we have to get a permit, and then we do have to have insurance. I think up to like 100,000. That's per animal though. On those.
See, that's the thing. You can't even find animal insurance in most places. So I actually don't I don't mind that if the state provides it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't mind
the only company in my area I know that does snake insurance, that's because I used to work for them, is Nationwide. So that's who I have.
That's because Nationwide is Ohio.
Literally.
The Buckeyes and Nationwide. That's Ohio. I always say that.
Nationwide, Ohio State, and Easton, Lex Wexner, all of that. That's it. That's it.
Nationwide is everywhere.
And they is not on your side, I guarantee you that.
Actually, one of the senior presidents actually went to high school with me. We moved to Ohio the same year, and he's never left Columbus. Always been there. Q did not get a snake bite. There was no bite marks on him. They are waiting on an autopsy. So, Eric, I want to tell you that's the same thing that happened for the guy here in Maryland. And then when the autopsy came back, he indeed died from a snake bite. So let's say we don't know in the nature of his death and how he died. I can probably 85% tell you that unless he committed suicide, and I hope not,
they're gonna blame a snake bite.
It was a snake bite.
Right. It's easier for them.
I mean, in the case of the guy here, though, I mean, it was just no evidence. Like, once your body, I hate to go so graphic, y'all, but again, my degree's in mortuary science. Once your body gets into that first early stage of decomposition, if you got any bite, you can't see it. It's only going to be an autopsy that can show you from that particular point. So superficial scars then become part of the decomp. And that's even if you only been there a day. So the autopsy does show exactly what happens, what we call subdural, so under the skin, and then in the organs and things like that. So that's how it will be determined. But I can tell you, like I said, in the nature of how and where he was located, according to what the article says, unless he took himself out, it was a snake bite. And you can't have berms or retics here no more. Luke, what state are you in? Florida, I know you can't have berms and retics, which I think is sick, because I think Florida is actually the ideal place for berms and retics to be kept in captivity. They will love it. I look at every snake and I have every day. I want to see them move every day. I don't know where the USF money is going, but throwing money at big charities every year, even though 10% actually goes to those causes, and the rest are pocketed by CEOs. Elias, because I've worked on some corporate boards, I can tell you, I can't say that for a lot of organizations.
I get what you're trying to say.
Yeah, I get it.
Basically,
I can't tell you this. Well, I'll use you as ARC for an example. If those companies don't provide the financial statement, and one of the things is there's so many people who do regulate what you call nonprofit organizations. Now, don't get me wrong. I've seen some mishandling of funds, and it happened at US Arc. That's why Phil, if you hear Phil tell the story, that's how he took the job. He didn't even want the job. It was kind of like, well, who's going to step up? Because somebody was misappropriating funds and stuff like that. So who's going to step up? And everybody looked at him, and he wasn't prepared, but he just took it and ran with it, and did it. So yeah, I'm a fan of my good intent. I have I as a Christian, I believe in giving. I don't believe in giving to the church, because that's, if you want to talk about misappropriated funds, I worked on those boards too. And
well,
to the charity. Okay.
Preach, sister. Preach, sister.
So if I'm going to give, I like to give to organizations that, let's say, even if I'll use breast cancer because that's what I'm big on, right? I give every year. I collect money every single year. Even if someone somewhere is stealing money, enough money still has to be spent on research and care. And when you see like someone like my sister, who this organization pretty much did Christmas for her kids, gift cards, makeup, everything that she needed as a cancer patient, told her pretty much worry about being alive and not your health. If someone is stealing $2 million, my sister still got hers. And that's just how I look at it when it comes to nonprofit organizations.
Somebody asked a question in here about permits. To Tommy Inky Clouds. You said, well, keep going down.
I didn't see Tommy in here, so it must be down. Hey, Tommy. So it must be down.
Yeah, that's a good question.
Tommy's a smart girl. She's bad. Yes. Dan spell check on me. What's the holes? I knew what you meant. Like you got some holes on your mind. I get it.
Different area code. Out of pocket early. He clowning in the comments right now, by the way.
He did what?
He clowning in the comments.
Oh. It's the local laws that will get you.
That's a fact.
Like I said, every time I do an educational show, a kid tells me their relative owns a venomous snake. And I'm like, please don't run around telling people that, because they're very much illegal in Tennessee.
Chances are they probably
illegal in Maryland too.
Chances are they probably aren't venomous, because I tell you what, you know how many times so many people have walked up to me and was like, I have a venomous snake. And then you hear it's a python. You'd be like, goodbye.
Yeah, so that was the thing, like what you were saying, Dre, with the guy in Maryland. That was the issue. They talked about how immaculate his keeping was. They had never seen enclosures so well kept. The snakes were all locked up, including the one that they determined was the one that actually envenomated him, was locked up. So they know that he secured it. But his daughter said that was always a protocol that he taught. But they were illegal in Maryland. So he shouldn't have had them in the first place. Like, and that's the thing. Like, as much as I want an alligator, outside of, I don't have all the land that I would want for him. You know, the backyard is nice, but it ain't that big for alligator. It's illegal. You know what I'm saying?
Listen. The sad part is I could see you with an alligator.
Okay,
that's the sad
I can
part.
see it too. Especially after talking to Chad, I was like, oh yeah, I can do this.
I can see Nicole with an alligator named Bubba in her backyard, and she treat him like he a goddamn 4-year-old. Come on, baby. Let's go get you your food. that accent gonna come out.
AT said, I remember saying that I think USOF members should be only people that's allowed to keep these animals. If you don't support, you have to abort. I love it. We need to teach
I'm not against that. I'm not against that.
Here's Tommy.
Oh, here it is.
What in your mind would be the purpose of pushing permitting? Tommy used to actually own venomous. To push an agenda of education. Normally, permitting and regulation is just the ability to fine or imprison. So, no, Tommy. So, just kind of like I said with the snake, with the gun license. I want people to understand the laws, and I want people to understand the rules. And if you don't abide by them, fine or imprisonment is just fine with me. That's my point. We police so many other things, and using the gun is probably the best scenario. And like I said, this is something that Dre and I talk about all the time, because we talk a lot about like different states and stuff like that, like traveling.
Travel a lot, yeah.
Yeah, so that's probably the best, because do I want to take my gun everywhere? Absolutely. Absolutely. But I know if I do and something shall happen, I can't use it on DC grounds, right? So if I shoot somebody, I'm now illegal, and I'm going to also cause problems for other gun carriers, because now I didn't follow the law. So everybody who's against gun ownership is going to make that the issue. She knew she wasn't supposed to have that gun in the DC federal building anyway. So it becomes an issue for everybody else. So yes, mine is first prove that you are educated enough, because I don't think none of us are or ever will be 100% educated on any animal we keep. Educated enough to handle it, care for it, feed it, house it. And the other part was permitting and regulation. Yes, I am all for that. I'm all for permitting and regulating animals, opposed to people not following laws and regulations. That's going to cause me not to be able to keep it all. So that's my agenda.
I think that's also what it boils down to help them keep track of the people who are breaking the law. Because if you just say, hey, these snakes are legal, but only to people who have the education to keep these animals, there's no way to regulate that. So anybody can still go to a reptile expo and get those animals. Now, if you say, hey, we need you to register these animals and get a permit, you can now keep track of that, and you'll understand who your keepers are, who are doing things by the book and who aren't. So having a permit, I think, is more so just a way for them to track who's doing it responsibly, because, most keepers who are doing things illegally aren't going to go get a permit because they don't want to spend the extra money. They don't care to. And then there's going to be the ones that are going to try to evade every way that they can. But I definitely think permits are a good idea. When, like I said, I'm in Ohio, when my snakes are of size, I'm definitely going to go get permits for each of those snakes that require the permit. Just because, I like to show my snakes off. I'm a content creator, so I don't want there to ever be any issues or anybody, come knocking at my door to come take my snakes or anything. So
yeah. And then even with that, I truly believe, I know we see some poor venomous keeping, but I think that their venomous keepers are some of the best keepers because of the protocols that
they have to be.
Right, they have
that
to
too.
Be, right? So, that's in a weird way. So I don't want it to be where someone can say, Nicole, you can't have retics, you can't have burns. I don't ever want it to be that. But I want us to have a median with the government where if I'm going to have retics and I'm going to have burns, and there's some concern that they will become a public nuisance or become abandoned, because that's another thing. Like, that's, to me, more than you free handling the animal. When I see a reticulated python dead on the side of the road in New York, my mindset already went through the fact that I hate when a heat panel gets accidentally unplugged for 2 minutes. You know what I'm saying? And you let this snake out to just die that way. It's so inhumane. And this is where I become from a snake keeper to a PETA person. Like, I'm like, oh my God, it's just so inhumane. So I definitely don't want it to be where, like, I'm good. I'm just good with anybody. Come on in right now.
Right.
I'm good at any given point of the day. Come on in. I don't have an issue with that. I just don't want you to say when you come in here, oh man, you can't have 100+ snakes. You can't have 6 lizards. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't want that. I want it, if you're going to have it, let us see that they're well kept, well fed, well secured. And then, and that's my same thing I feel about dogs, though. Like, I don't think people should not be able to have pit bulls. The pit bull needs to be registered with the state that it is. The pit bull should have some type of formal training. But to tell people, like in the county I live in, you cannot own pit bulls at all in PG County. You cannot own pit bulls. You can have Rottweilers, but you can't own pit bulls. So I don't like that. Don't tell me I can't have pit bulls. But if I'm going to have it, tell me what you want me to do to keep it.
Agreed. I don't know. I think I don't like how they come up with these
Good
bans and
morning, Dawn.
it's
Have a
just
good
a
one.
blanket, it's just a blanket statement for all keepers. I don't think there should be a limit on any amount of reptiles someone can own as long as it's within the realm that you can handle, because everybody's workload is not going to be the same. So if I keep 30 snakes and you keep, 50 snakes, but you don't keep your 50 snakes up to par like you should be, then yes, you need to probably have some of those snakes removed. Otherwise, you're just making it look bad on everybody, and they're gonna look at all reptile keepers like, oh, they're probably not keeping their snakes up to par. It makes it all look bad.
Yeah, but I get it. Like, I get the concern. That's what I was saying to Shane's, because Shane's concern was that then it would just become more policing. I don't know. Like, but I also live in a state where our politicians are pretty. I don't want to say cool, but they cool. Like, literally, like, they cool. I do think, though, we're going to come to a place anyway where we're going to, because we can't police ourselves. That's something that we've been saying for years. And every time I go on the internet, like, Lord Jesus, especially when it comes to big snakes, especially when it comes to, and I know, like, Tommy or other people who keep venomous, y'all deal with it in the venomous world too. But I said yesterday, for example, somebody who's been keeping retics for years, saying they saw somebody who's 17-year-old by a reticulated python, and I think that's totally unacceptable. Wait till something happened. I know 17-year-olds who are more responsible than 47-year-olds. It's not the 17-year-old. It is the person.
I've said this before. What bothers me about people who don't keep reptiles, don't have any experience with reptiles, is when it comes to snakes, they think that they know the most, and the people actually dealing with these reptiles on a day-to-day basis. Like, wait until something happens. You do realize that reptiles don't plan out things, right? So
right. It's not,
what do you mean wait until something happens?
Wait. Because you're 17 and you got to retic. But it goes back to the same, like I said, that's why I laugh at that. Not laugh.
I tell people all the time.
Some of the same people who thought that I was going to get killed by a retic in my first year, who come to me and wow,
it's like, why even wish that on somebody? I got a better chance of tripping and falling down the steps and hitting my head than getting killed by one of my snakes. Like, when people say stupid stuff like that, I'd be like, you need to turn off the TV. Turn off the TV. Get some actual, because I just feel like get some actual experience versus relying on someone to feed you information. It's no point. And that's why I always say education is key. Comment pops up right at the time, because education is key, and I don't mean
especially
education.
with venomous. Like, I don't care. Like, for me, Dre, you're good. I'm good. We're not venomous good. Like,
no,
we're not even a sentence of education on venomous good. You know what I'm saying? So I just think that's a whole nother level of keeping number one. Like, I think
definitely
you're a whole different person. I talked about this before. Like, a person, like if the young man died from a snake bite, he was willing to die from a snake bite. You better believe it. I believe venomous people go in saying, I love this animal so much. If it happens, it's my fault. I'm gonna make it.
You already know the saying in the reptile world: whatever you keep, you're gonna get bit by eventually. And that's not something that I'm not willing to get bit by. The type of snakes that I want to keep. I know I like them. I like them real exotic. So I like gaboon vipers and I like the heavy hitters. That's not some stuff, you said what?
But you want a Gila monster who can literally eat you.
He can't. Larry can eat you. He way bigger than my Gila monster. But it's correct. Now, the beaded lizard.
But you want a Komodo who literally can really eat you. We've seen that. I've seen them.
I said I would, but they're illegal, so that don't matter. I can't ever get one, so that don't matter what I want. But I've been bit by the beaded. I wore a glove, but I know for a fact that he would try to bite me. So therefore, I know I'm not getting a snake, because number one, those snakes move entirely. Here's the thing with venomous snakes, especially even the big ones, versus like the big berms and retics. They move at a completely different, faster rate than most of these big snakes.
They move like our green tree.
I'll take, and people laugh all day, I'll take any of my snakes biting me over my caiman. Because the caimans don't bite and let go. They bite down and shake.
Mm-hmm.
And the snakes, even if they wrap up, it's going to hurt a little bit, but I can deal with that. Mm-hmm. They don't have the same pressure that the caiman has.
Right.
So
And Eric's point, Chihuahuas are meaner than pit bulls. Retics and ball pythons. Do you know who strike at me? Like if I get struck at, ball pythons. Baby ball pythons are the strike.
Don't forget Jack Russell's.
Oh, my Yorkie poo. Right now, while we've been on here, I have a Rottweiler. Y'all haven't heard him once. You heard the Yorkie poo plenty of times barking at the people jogging past the house. They just jogging. He barks at planes. He barks at motorcycles. He don't like anybody but us.
Planes, trains, and automobiles.
But that's true. And I used to say that when I was a regional property manager. I wish we would change the laws where people could keep larger dogs and get rid of the little dogs, because the little dogs are the ones that would cause all the complaints because they barked all day. When larger dogs don't really bark, they really kind of just chill unless somebody comes through the door.
I feel like most larger dogs, depending on how they were raised, they're not really gonna bother anybody unless you really just on some like sketchy stuff. Because they're smart. They know, there's them small dogs. You walk in the kitchen, bark, 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 and you're like, shut up, leave me alone. So I tell people, like, I had a friend. I'm like, look, I'm not gonna ask you to put your dog up, but I'm not coming over because your dog won't shut up. Just talk too much.
Exactly. But I say it's okay. Sorry, made that note. So yeah, I think that again, and even listen to, I don't know if y'all follow Gary on Constricted Reptiles, was Constricted and Addicted. And we talk about retics a lot. So, and the whole Tom Crutchfield thing. And y'all know I used to love me some Tom Crutchfield, but he has gotten on my nerves lately. With the reticulated python, pretty much Gary did a show the other day. We was talking about the size of reticulated. Like even people say for me, y'all think my retics are big, but they're not big compared to other people. My retics are very lean, right? And which I truly believe, and after even watching Dave Kaufman, they're supposed to be lean snakes. They're not supposed to be great big old snakes. Burms are a little bit girthier just by nature, but retics are supposed to be lean, long snakes. So a lot of the arguments we're having in the retic community are irrelevant if you properly keep the animal the way that it should. So he was showing that he had I think she was like 14 feet, but he was saying that she was only like 20 pounds. Now, none of my 14 footers, I can tell you, are only like 20 pounds, but I'm not saying that his snake is small. I would say, though, none of them are 100, none of them are 80. I would say most of them, probably about, I would say the three biggest ones, definitely between 25 and 60 pounds. And T'Challa, when she was pregnant, definitely was probably pressing about 80, but for the most part, none of mine I can ever see in a lifetime being 100-pound snakes. And so, I mean, if it happens, it happens, but we don't overfeed them. And he was talking, it was a good conversation. It was Nathan was on there too. Quite a few good retic people. And one of the things that we can't have conversations about is there are a bunch of obese retics there, and don't tell me it's so they can have babies, right? Unless you want 80 eggs, because I just had a very lean retic give me 22 eggs, 22 healthy eggs. So it's not that they can't breed, which for a long time people would say that they had to be this certain size to breed. No, if it's ready, it's ready. It's going to breed. It's going to push on, just like any other snake. I would love to see that when we talk about the policing of it, having conversations that are broadened and proven, because some people are still stuck in 1990s, and we have kept retics captive much longer than that. It is not that same animal that you were getting out the wild. So you cannot speak on it if you haven't kept them for the last 15 years captive, generations of captive bred, because that's why I love Chip. Chip has more retics than most of these people out here talking about they did. But Chip also shares, out of all the retics he has great experiences with them. So and he's old school. He's been in those countries bringing them over here. So it's not like somebody who don't know what the F1s were, what the first wild courts were like. He knows. He just knows that if you have the right relationship with them, then you can have a well-managed animal. With also keeping in mind, just like you keep in mind with your Asian water monitor, your Cayman, and everything else. My table, whenever I go in there to get Gigi, I got to look at her first to make sure she is for real. Because
Now, them lizards is a different ball game, though. Them lizards they cut from a different cloth.
They moody as crap. One morning it's like, come get me. The next one she might want to snatch that thing off. And this is y'all see me and Gigi can sleep together. It has nothing to do with whether or not she is docile or not. No, she crazy. So you have to go in and see what's up. And look, this is the funniest thing. I swear to God. I looked at her birth certificate the other day. They were born in June. They Geminis. I say that's it. Gigi is a Gemini. She's a female Gemini that explains everything. But you go in and you never get the same tegu. I always get the same retake, but you do not get the same tegu. Now, once she out, she's the same tegu. But I'm talking about going in. It all depends on like what mood she's in.
I'm convinced tegus have a split personality disorder. I don't care where you got it from.
Like it's definitely funny. Compared to the water monitor and everything else, that's the one animal that I even have to say compared to the green tree now because he's just so sweet. He's just so sweet now. I can't believe it's the same. That's my baby. DMX my baby now, y'all. But the tegus, I think, even compared to the green tree, it's the one that I'm like, okay, what are we doing today? And she'd be like, all right, I'm coming out. And she got that little wobble and she'll come out. Kobe is very chill. He's a male though. Like he's always been very chill. As long as you don't touch his food, he's good. But Gigi, you got to see what lane she's on any given day because tegus will definitely, and that's another lizard you don't want to get bit by because they don't let go either. Y'all see it like she literally shakes paper towels like she a pit bull.
Going back to what you said about
specialty dog training with fear, aggression, and reactivity, and I haven't had one pit bull in the last 4 years. I'm just saying. My mother has 3 amazing pit bulls, and my grandchildren literally they will come and sit when they're sitting on the porch. They will sit on the grandkids. Like it's so funny. Like they're protecting them. I'm gonna sit on them. Don't you dare touch them. They're protective. They're not bad animals.
Going back to what you said about the size of retics and a lot of people believing that they have to be these huge animals. I just wanted to add on. I think that's because most people are power feeding and they're in a rush to start breeding them, so they want to instead of waiting for them to be the proper age and to grow organically like they're supposed to, they want to pack on this weight. That way their body can handle going through the process of laying these eggs. And I mean, we see it every day, this is even with Berm. This is my, 1-year-old Berm and it's 8 foot. Why? I'm sorry, like, unless it's an elephant, no animal should be that big, that fast. Like, I don't get it. But we see it all the time on Instagram.
Welcome, Ansel Jones. I just think that, to sum it up, I think that we have to pay attention to these bands. I think that one of the things I love, shout out to Tommy and, many others, but there are so many people who are just so dopely smart, have been keeping animals for a very long time, such as myself. Experience has taught them a lot. That can sit on these boards, can go to DC with me. One of the things I did grab was the card from, I think I shared this with you guys, from the director of, she works for the DC government of, it's not agriculture, she was the director of, might have been animal behaviors or something like that. I have to look it up again. But anyway, I got her number. But anyway, my goal is to work with her so we can work with the legislation as they come up. Not in Maryland, because Maryland Fish and Wildlife, Maryland National Society, National Agricultural Society, Maryland's what we used to go to all the time, the Nature Society, they are very open to animals. This is an animal-driven state, water woods and mountains. But it does concern me that these states that are so close on the south and the north, because we're in the middle, are becoming so negatively conscious of animal keeping. And I do think a lot of that triggers from what you go back to what you said in the beginning. We are way more visual on social media now. So people see animals that they never saw before in homes more frequently than they did in the 80s and the 90s, you know. So I think that we just have to be conscious of that and be able to educate people with knowledge. Get the powers and definitely in knowledge. Saber Espadere. I think that we need to make sure that we are teaching people the why. I can tell you with reticulated pythons, I'll use my family, for example. When I first got them, they was like, have you lost your dag on mine? She has really done jumped off the cuckoo nest. But you saw my biggest cheerleaders when T'Challa got pregnant was my family. They was just so enthused. And those snakes have become a part of them too, because they got to see that they were not what they thought I was purchasing. You know, snakes that's coming in here just striking out the enclosures and all of that kind of stuff. If you came here, you wouldn't even know. Like right now, I'm sitting in a room full of them. Because they're just very chill snakes. They get active around the afternoon and evening. We let them out, right? But I think that when it comes to venomous and these large snakes race particularly, we have to be conscious. I don't think ball pythons will ever be totally banned, but I can't say they won't. But I'm just saying very specifically what we're doing with these large lizards publicly, these venomous snakes publicly, and these large constrictors. Those are the things that really send people over the edge. To make them think, and even including when you're showing the feedings. Like I don't believe that. I was saying this the other day. Feeding a California king snake, feeding a corn snake, none of that pretty much, as long as you just feed and not making no big, crazy, eerie presentation of it. People don't look at that in a certain way. But when you start to feed a rabbit and a deer publicly, people see their child. They see their dog. They don't see the rabbit or the deer that you just gave to that snake. So we just have to be conscious of that stuff. And we can't change how people interpret our keeping, but we do have to be conscious of it. You have a better chance of tripping on a peanut butter and jelly sandwich and falling on the toothpick that goes into your eye killed you than being killed by a deer. Wait a minute though. It reminds you of that show, like once in a thousand, like things that can happen, and it will be something like that.
Was it like 1,000 ways to die?
Yeah, 1,000 ways to die. You have a better chance when you read this, tripping on a peanut butter and jelly sandwich and falling on the toothpick that goes into your eye. It kills you. That's how the things used to happen on that show.
Hey, Uncle Mike is in the chat. He said, "What up, Nicole?"
Hey, Uncle Mike. Absolute everybody's favorite person at Tilly.
He hopped on a live with me yesterday on Instagram. That was funny. That was funny. I told him I was gonna get him some gold grills. He said,
"I am Stephanie." I was working with his daughter. I was like, "Yo, I'm your sister. I am Stephanie." But Mike be like, these crazy people.
They're cool people.
I kept venomous for 25 plus years and never got bit. See, but see, Tommy, that's a whole nother conversation for a whole nother show. It's a why. It's a why. So we're gonna talk about that. I gotta get Tommy on the show so we can talk about venomous because I think that's pretty dope. But there's a lot of people who kept them for many, many years and never got bit. Again, Tommy, though, I'm gonna point out, not saying that you old. But if you was doing this in the 80s, right, you had way more experience. And I think people who started back then was just, in my opinion, because you were still learning about them and things like that, you just believed in the safety protocols, where now it becomes sensationalized by YouTube and Instagram, where you want to get the views. So I'm going to take chances that most people should not chance. Like I would never take a chance of going in, retrieving a rabbit from one of my reticulated pythons after I've already put it in there. That's taking a chance, and I'm sure y'all gonna get what y'all look for if I try to take my dumb butt in there and take it out. And I just think that that's what we're seeing now. We're seeing people taking risks that they probably wouldn't have otherwise taken without social media. And I would love your input on that, Tommy. With the Chihuahua versus the pit bulls, I'm 5'2", 135, and my husband is 6'3", 150. I'm the one that will cause a problem. But Tommy, you cut too. You not a regular 135. But I definitely get what you're saying. Definitely. Keisha said, Tommy, that's amazing. I thought I was doing something with my 2-year streak of not being bit. Yeah. See, that's the thing. I mean, I had never been bit by a snake until what? Christmas Eve last year. And that was a baby retic that I hit in the face by mistake. And the retic literally, when it did it, it was like, well, I'm sorry, but you hit me in the face. I know it was you, dog, but I had never been bit by a snake.
You want to know what was so great about that? When you told me you got bit, we had just had a conversation a week before.
We did.
And you was like, and you was telling me.
Great. That wasn't great.
And you was telling me, I'm not going to get bit. I was like, it's going to happen. But no, it always, at least from my experience, it always happened in a way you don't think it's going to happen. And it's not, like, once it happens, you like, damn, that's it? Okay, cool. Because I tell people all the time, like, how did you get over it? Because, like I used to be scared of snakes. When I was younger, I was terrified of snakes. And people are like, how did you get over your fear? I was like, I got bit. And I realized it wasn't as bad as what it was. Not saying I like to go out there and just take bites, because I don't. But once you see the worst that can happen, you move on. And, I mean, that's it.
Yeah, I just never, all these years, and that's what I'm saying. Like, never had gotten bit. And even then, like I said, being a baby retake, it wasn't what I expected. And I think the poor snake was more upset that it bit me than I was. I mean, for real, it looked like, oh my God, it was you. I'm so sorry. And literally came right up on my arm, almost like to say, I'm so sorry. I just got your finger. Candy Child, Tegu's a bipolar. I mean, I'm just saying, they fun though. I love me a Tegu. It's like having a little dog. I love me a Tegu. Why are we hating on female Geminis? Oh, I'm not. I'm a proud Gemini, Tommy. All day.
Don't tell that to everybody, Nicole. And I'm not hating. I'm just keeping it real. Y'all got some issues. Nicole said it herself. She said she looked at the Tegu's birth certificate. She was like, so, all I'm saying is, I
Tommy and Gemini too. It explains it. Because I think when Tommy was on Hair Down one night, and I think I said to Keys, I love her. Like, I just love strong women who are not afraid to speak up. This is Keisha, logged into my old account by mistake. It always look like your twin. Right, it looks like your twin. I swear that, like little Kiki.
We know it's you. Little old high school picture. We see you.
Look like I know her. I gotta go, y'all, but I have a blessed week. Candy, have an amazing week, sis. I think we all have to go. I just thank all of y'all who joined again this Monday. So actually, Keisha, I meant to ask if y'all had sent me anything yet, because my mail person is not really reliable and loses my mail all the time. I want to make sure I don't need. I'm not sure if she's sorry, but if she didn't, darling, I'll make sure I ask her in the chat.
Yeah, they was talking about.
Okay, they got it. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm behind as usual. I'm surprised Ray didn't remind me already. So let me get through it.
I was trying to stay on topic. It was a good topic.
Yeah, I mean, it's a good topic. It's a topic that we have to discuss, and one that we have to work.
It's very relevant
together. Yes.
This is always going to be a continuous conversation. It is cold here today. Jeez.
Is it? So I haven't been out. It was so warm here yesterday. It was hot. I remember telling Bosa when I was doing the live, like I turned the heat off and everything, and it was still hot as crap in here.
It's 40 right now, but it's raining and it's windy. Oh my God. It's gonna be one of those days.
He's just doing business by working. You're good.
He said something to me at Tinley that made me. I was cracking up. I think me and you was cracking jokes, and he took your side. I was like, "All right, Keys, I'm gonna tell your boss." He's like, "Hey, man, why you gotta tell my boss on me?"
My neighbor stole a package I got from Infinite Pop.
Wow. I mean, I don't really promote violence. I'm lying. I do.
See, Mike said, worst bite he ever had is from a lizard.
Yeah, man. Mike was wilding yesterday. I think Mike had gotten that liquor cabinet. He got on my Instagram.
I'm just feeling insulted. I would like, hey, there's a live. It was an important one. I can see it was the most frivolous one with frivolous people, but it was your over Mike, and no one told me that there was a live. But that's okay. That's okay. Y'all, like I'm a stranger from Monday through Friday. We don't start having like regular conversations to Saturday and Sunday about
you be busy taking flights and doing whatever.
Whatever.
Mike was on there taking his shirt off, showing people his boobies.
Jesus.
Like you gonna make me.
I'm glad I missed it, then, Uncle Mike. He's still Elias.
Leave it up to Elias.
He's still my favorite student.
Elias didn't live 1,000 lives.
It's a weapon for the Keys family between the stupid man with people in my age. I sent Jeremy Wolfle a shirt when I sent everybody shirts months ago, and he never got his. And you couldn't miss it. You could never got it.
Everybody's shirt. Huh? I never got mine either. Mine must have got lost in the mail too.
Do I have mine? Do I have any?
I'm making new merch right now. But Jay, I forgot I was going to get mine at Tinley.
You was going to get yours at Tinley. Let's keep it real. And had you came to Big D's, can everybody in the chat let Dre know, I had a whole bag of shirts, bag of sweatshirts. I had one for everybody and some more. But I have one here for you, but it would have been easier just to pick it up in Tinley.
I didn't get there until Saturday morning, so I couldn't come anyway.
Oh, you should have reminded me then. Oh no! At that point, you're right. They would have probably.
You see what I'm saying? Now we see.
But I have one. We ain't gonna fuss about it.
We see who like what. You know what I'm saying? You should have reminded me. She'd be too busy doing her thing.
I'm just saying. The first year though, the year before, you were supposed to. No, it wasn't even the first year. It was the second year. See, I can't even keep up. We done partied Tinley so much now. It was the second year.
I booked my hotel for October last night. I can't wait.
Yeah, so October is going to be it for this. We're not doing March. We're going to go to one of the California ones. And I might go to the one in July. I'm not sure. California in July. I kind of like it I got to go back in October anyway. But I might do the one in July. Not sure. Depends on how airlines be acting. After delaying my flight for all them hours, I'm still mad. You know me. I hold grudges.
Look at Justin's comment.
Who? Okay, go back. You hit it again. She lingerie. Not everybody. Don't let her. I
already know, Justin. Already know.
No, Justin,
she left you hanging. She left you hanging at Tinley.
Hold on. Let me say this. I only had 2-3 exes. One of them Miguel. And one of them, we still trying to find what we did with it. Gotta be in this house somewhere because we only had 2. The guy only had 2 to print. So anybody who was 2X and lower, Justin, had plenty of shirts.
Justin, we know the truth, bro. We know the truth.
I'm gonna need Keisha and everybody else who was there. The Vickers family got shirts. Billy was it Allie? They got shirts, and she rocked it. She rocked it the next day at Tinley. I see. What are you doing up this early in the chat? All right. Much love to you all. Have a blessed day. Yes, Mike. Sorry for the off-topic chat. I know YouTube like a big chat for girl. You can have whatever chat you want in here. You know that. You know that. Can't nobody mess with you. YouTube can't mess with you, Keisha. It snowed yesterday and got up to the 40s. Yeah, we still haven't seen no snow.
It was nice here yesterday. It was like in the 60s. Sun was out.
Real nice yesterday. I didn't want to come in the house. I had to run and do some errands. I did not want to come back in the house. I wanted to hang out. I started to call my sister and go up to Baltimore and eat cribs. All natural, no booze. I'm a lightweight. It was only
yeah, Uncle Mike was getting wild yesterday.
Yeah, my friends got bit by a child in the stomach. Ooh, told my mom and got in trouble for hugging random kids. Hey, Phil. So Phil, it may be in plans, but at the May cookout, I might be interviewing Matt from the Ball Python Project right there, which y'all know I've been trying to get him to do an interview for over a year and a half now. I will be super excited. So we may, depending on which day we pick, if it's going to be that day, we're going to do it there. Although we are afraid that Danny may sabotage the whole lives. So we might have to tie Danny up. Danny is funny-ish.
Don't worry, Darlene. She don't forget about you too.
Don't do that. I don't have a Lady T-shirt yet either. So this is the thing, Darlene. I have a set that were for sale, and then there was the set that was printed for very specific people, the usual suspects. Those shirts are like almost $40, $50 a piece to get the print and the sweatshirt itself.
That's what it is, Justin. Well, you might be. I'm not a usual suspect, so I'm just waiting until I get my chance.
Liar. So I still have you know what? Dre has to show up. And if he had showed up, he would already have his. The problem is, y'all, I don't go to the post office often. So I actually want to go today because I got to mail a couple. I have Emilio's because I do have one in Emilio's size. I have one in your size, Dre. It's just the 3X's the man doesn't have. Darlene, because I'll talk to you offline. But yeah. I put a lot of notes. I could ask my husband.
Justin Quallen. Hey, his new comment.
Sweatshirt. And where's Big B? And I left some extra ones.
His new comment said it don't matter, Dre, suspect or not. No, Nicole, when I tell you.
I ain't even messing with. I'm not. Pike, I can't believe. At Two Roots.
When I tell you, this man was. I was leaving Tinley. This man was so hurt. Justin was so hurt that you left Tinley without getting that shirt. He was like, I asked her what size she wore, and I messaged you like, hey, where you at?
He was like, talking to me. I didn't know. He didn't realize because I do normally stay until Monday. But Justin knew better than anybody that I wanted to hurry up and come back.
No, his face was. He was like, I messaged her like, hey, where you at? And she was like, I'm on the plane.
I didn't know that he was asking me to bring the shirt back in. I thought he was just asking, like, hey, which Dre.
Yeah, I was like, I saw her this morning. Her and Slim was buying weapons. That was a funny conversation.
But those are nice. Oh my God, I love them. Hey, Shane.
Yeah, that was
Benji. Good morning, Benji.
That was a good time.
Benji lives right up the street from me. That goes to show you how I never leave my house. It don't matter, Dre, suspect or not. I ain't playing with Justin. I can't believe Justin. You're acting like one of them normal people today.
That's Ohioans got to stick together. Shout out to my guy Jesse for the shirt from Tinley, JMH. Appreciate you, my guy. But yeah.
I got you, sis. You just gotta tell me what size. I thought you got honestly one of the first rounds of t-shirts, but I definitely got a sweatshirt. Our group snake chat is rough. Please, Danny keeps it real. Sometimes I come in there and feel like what I have to go all the way back, like what the hell happened today? Elias. It's okay. I'm delivery goodies to all my friends at Tinley. Dre, you getting something.
Oh, real one. You know what I'm saying?
You know what? Tilly turned up 2.5. That's right, Keisha. Don't forget to smash the like button. Yeah, y'all. Don't forget to smash the like button. Don't forget to share. Don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget. Juicy is still here.
Missed y'all at Tinley.
I know. Yes, definitely. And wait a minute, because I was definitely expecting to get me a Juicy G in person show.
That's all we needed at the bar.
Oh my God, that would have been it for me. Okay, if he had walked in there, oh my God, then we could have got the DJ to play Juicy Got Him Crazy.
Because I know she would have got up on the bar with me and we would have danced. You wasn't trying to let me get up on the bar. That was about to be a good time.
I was just so shocked that you was talking about getting on the bar. I was like, okay, like he's waiting here, but he waited for us a little too long here.
Just saying.
He was like, where y'all at? 2 hours later.
I could have
that day you dancing on the bar.
I was already a couple drinks in. I was waiting. But Nicole made it to the big league, so she don't mess with us common folk no more. We gotta wait longer.
Bye. We are the big leagues. We are the big. Everybody in this chat is the big league.
She had her front table. She wasn't at the back with the rest of us common folk.
I worked. I earned my seats.
I had to stand to the side like my normal peon self.
I earned my seats at the table.
Hey, Miss Nicole, if I could just trouble you for a
no, you didn't. No, but you did come up here and say, like, look, coming up here speaking for the regular black folks back in the day. I was like, if I had something to throw on him, I can't with this food. That's like, but you would have found my sis. My sis came and chilled with me. See, I told her it's already crazy. The moonshine is going to put out. Yes. I just love being in Tinley. I love just being, so I like to be anywhere where I can just cut up and not have to be structured,
Right, yeah.
And I can drink and not have to think, because there's nobody that I dislike that much that I have to worry about, me drinking. I say it sober. Drinking, you're probably better off with me drinking. I'm happier. I probably say hi when I normally wouldn't. I'm a happy drunk. I'm not a sad drunk.
Yeah. That first Finley, I was looking at her like,
turn up. You can hear that in the back. It was Pat this year. Pat was the turn up one. You heard turn up wherever Pat was. It was like an echo. Turn up.
She was louder than Brian Potter. He had the microphone.
No, what?
Not this year.
I was going to say that year before. That year we all sat at the table together. I was wet.
Oh, and Antoine got his club, his bat.
I told Antoine I held him down at the auction. He came and checked on. He called and checked on us that Monday how everything was. I said I held you down at the auction.
Mm-hmm.
You would have been proud. Me neither.
How the Exoterra doing?
Darlene, but when I do, when I do, yes, you did, KT. 357 get loose. The shine is for y'all. That is so funny. All right, y'all. So it's another amazing Monday. I just love y'all. Make me so happy on Monday mornings. We had so much fun. We covered our good reptile topics. We enjoy each other,
and we stayed on topic for the most part today.
Yeah. I mean, we, as we say in our normal shenanigans, this is never going to be a total 100% reptiles on Mondays. Some other stuff will get thrown into it. Shoot, I'm being careful because I have learned that I can say certain things and other people don't know how to articulate themselves. Right, Elias, and you can trigger. when Elias is triggered, it's no pulling back. So, yeah, we're gonna try to stay on topic as much as we possibly can, but sometimes we tread off, and when we tread off, it can get pretty wild. But I appreciate everybody. Everybody have an amazing Monday. I hope that God has blessed you in one way or the other. If you woke up this morning, you're here amongst the numbers, you've been blessed. If you're feeling good, you've been blessed. If you don't feel good, you're blessed to give a doctor a try. Just be grateful of the small things. I remember my godmother on her last days, they asked her what she wanted to do. And she said, I just want to get in the car, roll down the windows, and let me breathe the air. And so we got to be grateful for the fact that we can breathe the air, and we hope to breathe the air all day and tomorrow. Until then, everybody have an amazing week. Try to share love in the community. Try. I know it's hard. It's not always easy. It's not always easy for me either. But it was the whole. It was the
okay. That's the same dance you be doing in the bar at Tinley. We're like a smooth criminal.
Look, I was dying laughing. So Dre made a post yesterday, y'all. So he hates. So y'all know I love the I Wanna Rock song. And if you're with me, I'm singing this song all day long. Like you can say something random, and it's like I just want to rock. Dre was done. So yesterday he posted something. He said, "Damn Nicole, because this song is locked in my head." I was loving it. I was like, "Hey." I I love that song. I think the boy was genius. All he did was wrote 2 sentences
Man,
and started
listen.
move. That dance, Lord Jesus, had mercy. Yo, I'm just telling you, I can't wait. You lucky they didn't play that. I was trying, and all Slim kept saying was, "We're not asking the DJ to play this song." But he didn't play it for me.
See, me and him cool. He be
But
knowing.
no, this is that. He liked to see me dancing, so he didn't want nobody else to see. So look,
Okay.
I got the whole vibe to it. But anyway, he played it for me coming back from the airport. Back to back to back to back. And I got it all on my system on my way home.
Hey, yeah, Justin, that's why she ain't had your shirt. She just rocked all the way to that plane. That's what she did.
All right, y'all. I'm gonna let y'all go. Have your Monday back. It's been real. Love you all. Peace.
Have a good week, everybody.
I just want to rock.
Goodbye.
Bye, yeah.